Alright, welcome back to Adobe Photoshop CC. In this tutorial we're going to explore how to create this sort of sci-fi stylized type with cool lighting effects. We're going to do this in two-part tutorial. This is the first part. So this part I'm going to kind of go over the whole setup here, and the next part we're going to basically learn how to paint the lighting effects here. So you'll see here that I have a merged a copy of the image. If I turn that off and turn this off, and then we have some lighting sort of scenario here, and then we have some type, which has some effects applied. And then in the background, we have a levels adjustment, and this background layer has an actual gradient overlay. So I'm just going to go through on how to create this stuff and where to find it. So the texture is cgtextures.com formerly. Now it's textures.com. Texture King was another great site, but in this case I use CG Textures. So to create the gradient overlay, all I do is double click on the layer, and then click on gradient overlay, and then click in here, and I choose to start with the black and white, and then I wanted to modify it, so I double click on here, and I modified each of these points by clicking on any of these little drops here, and then you can sort of bend sort of the light there and figure out, well, how far over do I want that blend to happen. Then just click OK, and it's a reflected type, which basically applies the dark band in the middle and two on the bottom, sort of reflecting out. And it has a scale of 100%, and I dropped the opacity about 58% on multiply. Here's at 100%, so you can see the difference. So that's how I got that. Click OK. Now the levels adjustment, all I did was add a levels adjustment and cranked up the darkness a little bit. I could even back up a little bit on there, but basically just this is what it looked like before. So I just dragged the black needle in, and the white needle was all the way to the right, and I just dragged it a little bit just to get a little bit more brightness, so we can have that there. The text is a particular type of text. Let me turn off the effects here, and if I double click on the type, you can see here it says Robotech GP. So what's that about? So if you go to sites like defont.com, you can download type for free. You can just do a search and check 100% free public domain. And the one I checked was the Robotech looking one, which is kind of cool. Click download. And what will happen is you'll get a Word document in there that basically tells you, well, it'll be a folder that has a couple different documents. But this basically describes what it's free to. So you're free to share, distribute. The license, you just have to give attribution proper credit. So again, it says to font, particular type, and no other restrictions are basically applied here. So basically it is, again, this Gustavo Paz is the one that created this type, so I just want to give him credit. And then if we go over to the Robotech type, this is the file that you'll open up, and you click install. So in the folder it'll kind of show all this stuff, and then you click install on there. So this is what the zip would look like if I bring it over here. So you got your license, your PNG, and then here's the .ttf. This is what you double click on, and it opens up this, and then click install. Now you won't see your type until you shut down Photoshop and then open it up again. Same with any other program like Illustrator or whatever, any other type of program that you want to use. So once you open it up, you then just look for the type. So once I double click on here, I can click in here, and it should show up in my options here. And here's the Robotech. I just typed out Cyborg, which happened to be black. I could pick whatever color I want, but I have all these effects applied, so it really doesn't matter. So let's see some of these effects. So if I double click on the layer, bring up the style effects, there's a couple of different things going on here. I'm going to go ahead and check these so you can kind of see them. So the first thing that we have is a bevel emboss, and as you can see, it is the outer bevel. Now the difference between the outer bevel and say the emboss, the embosser does an emboss that's directional, that goes sort of downwards, but it doesn't have it on the outside all the way around. If you choose outer bevel, it goes all the way around. So as I increase the size and depth, you'll see it kind of goes everywhere in every direction there. So I just gave it a little bit of depth. I didn't want to go too crazy with it in the size, so that looks pretty good. Then I check contour. In here you can choose different kind of contour effects. Then I can apply a texture, and I actually applied a texture in here as a pattern. I'm going to show you in the next tutorial how to create these patterns and put them in here. But basically I just click in here and click on the pattern that I applied. Once you create a pattern, it will show up in your pattern menu here. Then I added, let's see, a pattern overlay. That's right. And in here, I clicked in here and checked another texture, which has a little bit different sort of quality in the pattern overlay. And then color overlay, I want a little bit of blue tint, so I just clicked in here and choose blue and increase the opacity a little bit. Now I forgot to mention in these guys, the scale is set to 100%, but you can adjust this slider here to your preference here. I wanted 100% on this one, and opacity is 100%. I could change a different blend mode, so I could change the overlay and get kind of a quality where the colors mix together. But since the Texas type is black, it's not really going to show up. I really wanted this texture to be in here, so I just set it to normal. And then I think I did a little bit of gradient. No, I didn't do gradient overlay. So that's pretty much what I have done here for the styles, and I'll click OK to apply that. Actually, I'm going to show you how to do the pattern right now, and then in the last tutorial I'll just show you the lighting effect. So if we go to what it originally was, it was this metal right here. And if you look at it, if I actually brought this in as a pattern, what will happen is you'll have distortion because the original pattern has basically, if you duplicate this over and over, it's not tiled. It's not properly tiled. So in order to tile this, what I did is I basically increased the canvas size. So if I go to image size, you'll see here, if I switch to pixels, it is now 4092 or 4096 by 3072, which is double the pixel size of the other document. So what I then did was, and you do that by going image canvas size. So you go image canvas size, and in here switch to inches. And so I'm sorry, pixels. I don't know why I said inches. And then it was 4096 by, I forget the exact number, but just for example, it was 3000 something. I'll just put 3000 and click OK. Again, we're not going to do the whole thing here, but I just want to show you the process. So then what I have is this basically corner piece that I have to Alt or Option and drag. And basically that's what I did, is I just dragged them into all four corners. And I think I flipped these two basically when I dragged them over. And then basically then I would merge these all together just by shift selecting all of them, right click, and go merge layers. And now I have one whole layer. And then I just cloned out all the lines using the clone stamp tool. So if you hit S, you can select an area and kind of clone over an area pretty easy. And then I use the spot healing brush a lot of times just to paint over little bits and stuff. And that's how I essentially got this. So it's a much bigger file. So then to bring this in as a pattern, you have to go to Edit and then go down to Define Pattern. You can also define as a brush preset, but once you click Define Pattern, you just got to name it and then click OK. And I've already done that, so it's already in here as a pattern. You can see it applied to the text. And what's really cool is this is the high-res version, and then the low-res is kind of the outside. So you can change them a little bit differently. So you can have the embossing effect look different than the interior. So that's the first part of this tutorial. We'll continue the second part to get the final effects, all these cool lighting effects in Adobe Photoshop CC. See you soon. Until next time. Cheers.